Your idea. All your ideas are the best ideas.
Yeah, that's what I say to myself. All right. Well, so we're trying a new format today on the Backpack Show, which is to show you we have actually two guests. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to wait. We have Ramona Jackson, who is the Bourbon Bohemian. We have Tanea Smith from She's Got Papers. So we have two people to bring on the show today. So we're sticking you all backstage, just like that.
I like Boop better. I think Boop is nicer.
Boop is better than
I think so.
I'm singing today.
Okay. I can't wait. So Tanea is building a stationery empire. So we'll talk with her. And she's got a lot of really good kind of innate business sense that I think we'll all benefit from. How she chose like her niche, how she designs her collections. I think that's all really interesting. And then Ramona, the Bourbon Bohemian, is an intoxicologist. She sent us a kit that we could talk about for mixing drinks. But we found Ramona through Nikki Porcher from Buy From a Black Woman. So we've got so much business sense in the show. It's unbelievable.
She already comes with her bona fides because Nikki vouched for her. So.
Let the tunes, they're ready for you to sing. Let the tunes begin, Chris.
Oh, I hit those while you were talking.
Fun fact, I know, but I'm actually talking to Women's Leadership Live later today. So that's why.
That's incredible.
I'm doing an interview. They sent me the questions.
What do you think the topic's going to be on?
Let's see.
Backpack Show. Paul, Miller.
Well, you got to ask questions you don't want the answers to. Hi, Paul. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Backpack Show, where we bring you business success insights from unusual places and people you haven't probably heard from all across your journeys of business podcasty goodness.
And I think let's start with liquor. That's what I feel like. I feel like starting with intoxication.
That sounds like a life philosophy.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, but I had to make that joke.
I would be remiss if I didn't point out that you actually can mix virgin cocktails with this kit that Ramona sent us.
I'm all for it. We have liquids and stuff. We have liquids. I just figured out my new drag name.
What?
My new drag name is, I'm not going to say it as well as she does, but like Advienne Barange or something.
The Bourbon Bohemian?
Yeah. And you got these little eyedroppers, right?
They're not eyedroppers. They're bitters.
Well, that explains everything. Let's grab Ramona.
They smell so good, though.
They do. I've already dabbed a little.
Stop it.
Famous author Len Joy just showed up.
Hibiscus. I love Len Joy. Len Joy is an award-winning sports fiction author. Like these are little tiny bitters things.
What are we doing with this? This is way better than Lego.
You shut up.
I love the Lego people. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm great. How are you guys?
Better now. We have a collection of things to make drinks with. I mean, I'm ready to face the day. Simple syrup.
How does one get to call themselves an intoxicologist, and how does this fit into the rest of who you are?
Well, I have a particular set of skills perfected over many years. I'm a self-proclaimed intoxicologist, and I guess you get here by finding a coping mechanism during the pandemic. I have a big back porch. I sit out there. I have a bar in my living room and a bar on my back porch, and I just started playing around, and people said, "Come do me." So started helping them to learn about how to take a journey through cocktails.
A journey through cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't regular simple syrup, by the way, that's in this kit. This is sweet potato simple syrup. And is it Advienne Barange? I can't even say it.
Yep, Advienne Barange.
Advienne Barange simple syrup.
Mm-hmm. It's a Persian rice spice. So I'm really into like Middle Eastern food. And I was eating something called wedding rice. And I was like, ooh, how can I turn this into a cocktail? I took the spices that you use to make the rice and put it in a simple syrup.
So you didn't have a whole lot of training or anything in this before. Like it wasn't like you went to some kind of mixing school or some kind of chemical class or anything.
No, I am not certified. Well, actually, I am. I did.
You are. Yeah, I was going to say. I remember. You actually are.
Yeah, I got a Bar Smart certification, which is like an industry certification for bartenders. But I'm not a bartender. Never worked in a bar. I have my home bar, but I just enjoy flavors and I love traveling. And since we can't travel right now, I'm traveling through drinks.
But you just designed a custom cocktail for Nikki Porche's group, Buy From a Black Woman. They had an awards show, right? And so you created like a cocktail for them. Tell me about that.
She came to me a couple of weeks ago and was like, I figured out what I need for you to do for me. And I said, okay, whatever it is. Like, I love Nikki. She supports everyone. So if we can all support her, like there's no limit to what she can do for our community. So she said, make me a cocktail for the award show. And I sat down, and in like 5 minutes, I was like, got it. It's called the Blacker the Berry. It has my homemade hibiscus simple syrup and bitters, and copious amounts of bourbon, because she and I are bourbon fans. And I styled it, did some video work, some photography for her, and she's gonna release that for Buy From a Black Woman Awareness Day.
So good. So how did you come up with like the right drink to fit her and like the situation? You mentioned that you both like bourbon, but like, let's say you were designing a drink for someone else. Like, how would you, what's the process like?
Well, if it's someone I know, I take from experiences and memories of them. So for instance, I have another friend who has a birthday coming up this weekend, and I'm doing 4 birthday cocktails for her. And
one's not enough.
Yeah. So we've known each other since college. I know that she loves bourbon as well. So I'm like, what can I do? All bourbon inspired cocktails, but that speaks to her love of travel and her love of community and her kids. And I just take from memories that we had over the last 15 years, and I put that into the cocktails, whether it's places or dishes or fun things that happened. And that's how I create the cocktails for people I know. For clients, because now I'm, foraying into like doing it for people I don't know, I have a Bourbon Bohemian like pre-questionnaire where I ask them about like their favorite things and their favorite places, or where they'd like to travel to. And then I create their cocktail for them.
I have to smell each thing individually.
I'm already fidgeting with it in my hands.
We've been doing this for a while.
Ramona, I have the question of what made bourbon your mix base of choice, only because so many other people who are doing mixing work almost always pick the clear liquids and all that. Mm-hmm. And I like the idea that there's you have a veering away from, and I like that you could still kind of work with a lot of options there. What made you do that?
Yeah, I think definitely people like gravitate towards like your gins and your vodkas, your white rums, because you can see the garnish and you can see like things in the cocktail. But I feel like bourbon is like a veil. Like, number one, it has so much flavor that it's leached from like the wood and all of the other things that go into the process of making it. But it also doesn't let you hide behind like fruit and like artisanal ice and other things. Like, you really have to make a great cocktail. You can't just make it look pretty. So like I can, muddle berries in a bourbon cocktail. You might not see them, but the flavor you'll get. So it taps into like some senses that other people usually don't use. So we eat with our eyes first, we drink with our eyes. But what about what you're smelling and like what you're tasting? Those things I want people to kind of have like a holistic experience when they drink a cocktail.
You didn't take the easy way out.
No.
So Deb says perhaps a tasting of Chef Phillips chocolates. It's Philip Ashley chocolates. They are ridiculously good.
He makes some good old chocolates.
Out of all kinds of unusual flavors. That's what made me think of it, is that your simple syrups, after Deb said it, but he's sort of inspired the same way you are. Like, he'll taste something unusual and be like, I could turn this into chocolate, like blue cheese.
He made a blue cheese chocolate. That's his -- seller.
And people don't even like blue cheese. They like that.
They like it because it's weird. Liquor is his number one mix in. John, by the way, seconds the idea, but adding also another past guest, Wrecking Ball Coffee. And I like Miriam's point that bourbon has layers. Miriam and I agree on that.
Yes. Miriam owns a company, The Bitters Reality. She does a subscription box with like an amazing curation of like bitters and syrups. And she's an amazing entrepreneur as well.
So how do you turn Intoxicology into a business?
You kind of get forced into it by friends. Like I said, I'm home. I've got two kids. They're 11 and 13. My husband's home. We're all in tight quarters. And I needed a way to unwind. So I started making cocktails and photographing them on social media. And then literally I had a friend, Latobia, and she said, hey, do you do this for people? And I was like, do I do this for people? And I said, well, maybe I should. So I was like, sure, I'll do it for you. Someone else hopped in the comments and said, wait, before you do it for her, come do it for me. She was having a birthday party. So literally it's rolled like that. I've gotten contacted by businesses, like individuals. I recently did a team appreciation for a dentist office. I have a team appreciation for the logistics department for Coca-Cola. Jones Soda Company reached out for me to do a cocktail. Like it's all of this happened in like the last 4 weeks.
So the dentist office, like it can't taste like Scope.
They were a very interesting bunch. We had like a big outdoor setup for them. They had a Soul Train line. Like we kind of delved into a lot of things about like the science of cocktails, which I hadn't really talked a lot about with people. So that was a fun one I just did about a week ago.
Wow, the science of cocktails. So you're not just like someone who likes to drink and then made drinks. Like you understand the chemistry of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like how a cocktail is composed, like what percentage of like melted ice is in a cocktail, like what flavors work best together, how you chill a cocktail in a metal cup versus a glass cup, things like that. So it's interesting.
How do you not get hungover?
Don't add too much sugar to your cocktails. That's the secret. A lot of people I see, they're like, they pour Coca-Cola on, or they pour Pepsi on, or Sprite, or ginger ale. And they're like, I've made a cocktail. No, you've made a mixed drink, which is okay. Put in a red Solo cup. But if you really want to make a cocktail, it is a very particular blend. It's an art and a science of like your base spirits, your modifiers or liqueurs, and your accents. So not just a bunch of sugar.
See, that's a tip for business success right there, because if you're going to wake up after every single, networking event hungover, they're going to work out for you. Oh, but you can make virgin drinks, right? With these same mixers and things. So you actually don't have to consume alcohol at all.
Nope, absolutely not. You want to put that Avia Branch syrup in seltzer or in pineapple juice, like go for it. If you want to put it in coffee, Wrecking Ball, or if you want to mix it with like chocolate milk, I wouldn't recommend, but maybe that's your thing.
No, too much sugar. Hi, Fazia. Fazia's back.
So you have a lot of pretty intense labels to you. Foodie, poet, tree hugger, intoxicologist. Which one kind of comes to the fore? And is it like a lot of people where certain slices of your time in your life, you are more known for X than Y? Is that what's become of you, or how's that?
Yeah, I love the fact that I settled on the name, the Bourbon Bohemian. One, because I love bourbon, but being a bohemian for me is like being able to be whatever you feel like at the time. So right now in this season, I'm home. I'm a technologist. I work for VMware in cloud computing.
Oh,
but
cool.
I love the like dichotomy of like me being all day in front of a screen, helping customers in cloud computing, and then me spending my nights like with my test tubes, like mixing up cocktails.
Just don't do it at the same time. You'll ruin your computer. You might spill.
Maybe.
Well, that's the fun of a virtual machine, is you could just relaunch it. Everything will be fine again.
Every time.
How do you get simple syrup out of a keyboard? Asking for a friend.
You lick it.
Oh my golly. So you talk about being in the lab a lot, and you talk about the fact that you're out there working. Like, for instance, I was looking through your Instagram and seeing like rambutan and all that.
Yeah.
Tell us about a nightmare. Tell us about one that didn't work, like the worst.
Ooh, it didn't work, but it photographed well. There is a cocktail contest out right now for cream-based cocktails.
I saw that one.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. I don't do a lot of stuff with cream. So I did like a matcha infused gin and coconut cream and lime. And it kind of like it didn't mesh well, but it looked okay. So I was like, I'm going to submit it because the flavors make sense in my mind.
It does look good,
but it didn't mix well at all.
I would imagine the lime would have kind of curdled the cream.
Yeah, and so I was like, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
You were like, you don't look at it, you just throw it back.
Taste it.
I like that Kate's sort of playing hooky from a church friend Zoom meeting, but
Kate,
glad you're hanging.
to talk about liquor.
It's spiritual. It's a spiritual experience.
And remember, you can make all non-alcoholic things with that. That's what I'm going to do with this. Is I'm going to bring this with some seltzer water.
You're a dirty liar.
That's my plan. I've got seltzer water in
dirty
mine.
liar.
So
I'm going to say so on the next podcast I do with Women's Leadership Live, who said that they want to experiment with cutting me off, which I have to say is a very bad idea. I let Chris get away with a lot of things nobody else gets away with. So.
That would be true. Ramona, when the world opens back up again, where are you going to take your adventures, and where are you going to go searching out new materials for your intoxicology?
I have a friend who wants to go to Egypt. So that I'm going to see what I find there. Maybe I'll open up a tomb and find something to throw in a cocktail.
Oh my God.
I love to travel, so I'm just excited to like go to all the places I've been traveling with cocktails. I did a Peruvian, Brazilian inspired mule recently. Have never been to either place, so I'd love to go there. And then just around the States, like if people want me to come and mix drinks, like let's do it. Hop in my car and go wherever.
Nice.
Come on down.
Well, Miriam's right with you. She says it's a spiritual process.
Yes.
Ramona, if you could stick it out, we're going to go to a break. But if you can stick it out, we're going to come back. We're going to have our panel at the end after we talk to Tanea Smith for a bit. But stick it out. We have the last couple of questions for you. So hang tight, sit back, make some beverages. Thank you. Wow. Ramona Jackson, the Bourbon Bohemian.
I feel so like unworthy of this kit that she sent.
It even had like a nice burlap bag.
I know.
So I can kidnap really small people.
So very small people. But so not unlike the finished cocktail, presentation really matters. Like she could have just sent us stuff in like a Tupperware, but this looks really classy and adorable. I feel like if you knock on the back door of like a speakeasy and you need to get takeout because of the pandemic, this is what they'll give you. I
like it. I like the thinking.
Yeah.
You know what would fit really nice into any kind of packaging? Your own show. You can make a show just like this one. I could see the Bourbon Bohemian doing her own show. I already made Nikki do one. So you got to
make her do anything.
I forced her. I said, "You get a show, Nikki Porcher," and she said, "Okay."
Nikki Porcher needs no man to tell her what to do.
Oh my gosh, she doesn't need any human alive to tell her what to do, let alone a dopey old me. Go to cbrogan.me/StreamYard. You can make your own show. I even sold one yesterday just in one tweet. I said, I really like every time I see the little sales thing come through because it means that someone else is getting ready to start their show. And it made my heart feel happy. And then someone bought one. I was like, okay, good. Also you, person. That was like $6.11. That's like a hamburger.
No, so the reason I love it is when we started doing this show, everybody started asking me to come and help, come and co-host theirs with them. And I was like very flattered, but I was also like, it's not me you want, it's StreamYard.
Yes.
They seem to think I was like some magician or something. I'm like, no. It's all StreamYard.
Jason Keith from Social Fresh and I were talking about it yesterday, and I told that story secondhand about the fact that everyone thought you were going to be the showrunner, and I was like, no. So, hey, authors. So I think that maybe Ramona has a book in her. That's what John said anyway. John said maybe Ramona should write a recipe book, and if she's going to do that, she needs a good author site. So I think pub-site.com is a good place to put it. What do you think?
Pub-site.com is the best place to put it because it's powered by FSB Associates, the best book publicity firm in the industry. So for years, they had authors needing to promote themselves, their appearances, their books, and needing a website and paying thousands of dollars for somebody else to build them a website that didn't do all the things they need. So reluctantly, they created PubSite because it's so easy for authors to just put together a website themselves. All the elements are there. You can customize it, super customize it. It's so easy. Anybody can do it. And if you absolutely don't want to do it, they can build your website for you. So it's 14-day free trial. Get in there, tool around, see how easy it is. And if you decide you don't want to do it after the 14 days and you want them to build it for you, they will build it for you for just $499.
Yes. Also, you should know that they're the sponsors of the Person of the Day. Person of the Day will be judged randomly a little later on.
But if you want to build your own website, I just want to say it's only $19.99 a month.
That's it.
That's it.
It's incredible value.
Seriously, it's so easy. I'm like not an HTML person. I'm a half-ass web person, like at best when it comes to development. It's so easy.
Even though she wrote it on the bottle, it's like Ativan orangutan or something. So this would be really tasty over an apple. Or
so Deb says, will you be sharing, Kerry? I'm not very good with sharing like anything. I don't know what the context is, but probably not. So
I volunteer as tribute to be your taste tester, says Deb.
Aw.
Is it 5 o'clock somewhere? It is.
Deb
ever
says,
since.
Debbie says they won't cut me off. That's a nice choice to make.
Well, so listen, Tanea Smith is here and she is talking about a very nearly lost art. So, it's important. We have to understand this because the world has changed and the world is how fast can I get it onto, my notes? Can I text it to you? Twitter just announced fleets named after the enema. And what they're going to do is, make even smaller than a tweet kind of a thing. I don't know what that means. Basically 40 words or so, 40 characters. Just like, hey, I was
the social media equivalent of a one-night stand. Like that's all you get.
Just the one. That would be great. If you could allow one person one tweet. I know a president who needed that for 4 years. Anyway, let's grab Tanea Smith on and let's ask her important questions about pieces of paper and parchment. Okay. Hi. Well, is it black on your screen? Because it's black on my screen.
We only hear you. We don't see you.
I'm going to pull you back. Can you refresh your browser? I was fooled because backstage I see her beautiful face.
I know. It's very confusing. So let's fix that. But first, let me tell you how I found Tanea. So I went on Twitter looking for an etiquette expert. And my very good friend, Carol Cox, said that Tanea was an excellent person to talk to because she does a whole line of cards. Like there's thank you cards. There's actually baby business cards. There's all types of different notes in this collection. So kind of for life is the occasion. That's what she says. She knows a lot about etiquette. She learned from her grandmother, so we can talk about that. And she knows a whole lot about gratitude and helping people express it. So that is why we invited Tanea on the show.
We did it. She's live and real now.
Now we see you. Can we hear you as well?
Hi.
Hello. So she's got papers.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes.
I really hope so. Okay, good.
That will make this perfect. Yeah.
Good. This will make it a lot easier. So tell us about She's Got Papers. Okay. Your sister came up with the name?
My sister came up with the name, and it was the name of a song that my mother played around the house when we were kids. And when she called me with it, she said, we were going to do a business. I have to go back. I have to backtrack. We were going to open up a stationery store together. I don't know if you guys remember Kate's Papery. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah, we're listening. Sorry.
Can you guys
we hear you, but there's like a 6-second delay. So it's going to be this way the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So there was a paper store called Kate's Papery, which we loved. We decided we'd open up a store like that. My sister calls me at work one day. She said, Tanea, I have the name for the business. It came to her in a dream. And it was She's Got Papers. So, of course, we did nothing, right? Like entrepreneurs who have a great idea, you don't do anything in the beginning, right? Years pass. She goes on, has got her MBA and went on with her career, and I go on with mine. I have my daughter in 2007. I'm home on maternity leave. But for me, this maternity leave was different because it was the first one I had ever gotten in my life, right? When I had my son, I didn't have a job. So I was just home. I was a teenager. Having this time off gave me a chance after so many years of working in corporate and just trying to do and catch my breath and take care of my son. I had an opportunity to just stop. Right? Just stop and start to evaluate. What do I want to really be doing? Have you ever had a job that you hated?
Yep. Not this one.
No, but not this one, but another job where you hate the job, you hate the people, you're grossly underpaid, and you're like, I got to get out of this place. You ever had a job like that? We all have, right?
Yes.
Except that wasn't the story here. That wasn't the story. I had this job. It was a great job. I liked the people. It was not my passion. And I knew that. And so being at home, I started to think about, what is your next? What do you really want to do? Enter She's Got Papers.
So you were really smart about planning how you would enter the stationery space. You knew that like Hallmark has a lock on like birthday cards and kind of those big occasions. So you focused on life as an occasion. Can you talk about that? Like, how do you design your collections? What are they for? They're cards for the thinking woman, but what's the occasion really?
Right. They're cards for the thinking woman. What I knew coming out the gate is, if you're going to do this, it has to be different. So you had Kate's Papery, you had American Greetings, you had Hallmark, you had Papyrus, which is the grand dame, right, of specialty paper. So I started thinking about, what can I do? How can I make this different? And I decided that I would create papers that were based on my life experiences. You know, the experience of friends of mine. My aunt got a divorce. A piece came out of that. Gratitude pieces. I really looked at what's out in the market, and then what do I want to put out that can be different.
And what, I know that you've learned a lot about etiquette. You learned a lot about etiquette from your grandmother. So what role did that play in this? Like, there are occasions where you really ought to write a note, like texting someone is not going to be sufficient.
Right.
So
exactly.
how did you choose your
Sufficient
occasion?
or appropriate, right?
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother used to say, children need to know how to do three things. You need to know how to set a table properly, make up a bed hotel style, and write a thank you note. So my grandmother used to write me letters as a little girl. I had a cousin in Baltimore who I used to visit. We were pen pals. And so what I knew is that I needed to, with these papers, make personal connections with people. So if you have someone, and usually an elder in your house, taught you the art of etiquette and handwritten notes and how to do things. Now, do I send text messages? Of course, because this is the 21st century. I can't be in the Stone Age. So you'll send a quick text about this or that. But the things that matter, I need to send you something in your mailbox.
You also you started with a baby collection. I remember, like, one of your earliest collections was like business cards for babies. And
Baby
I love the
business
thought of
card,
it. Yes. Tell me about the baby business cards.
Okay. In the beginning, like all entrepreneurs, you don't know what you're doing, right? So you're just throwing up all these things on the wall and seeing what's going to stick. Because I had a newborn baby, the initial collection for She's Got Papers was baby. I had a baby collection, a teen collection, and then women's. The baby business card started when oh gosh, that was so long ago. My niece is 15. So my niece was the baby, actually. And oh gosh, what happened? I didn't know you were going to ask me about this.
She grew up.
She definitely grew up. She definitely grew up. When I see her, I'm like, who's that? Oh gosh.
So she grew into your teen collection.
No, I was in the pediatrician's office. I'm in the pediatrician's office and I'm observing this exchange between two mothers. And they're talking about getting the kids together and, you know, how they're going to do it. They haven't seen each other in so long. And then one woman says, here's my card. Let's do a play date. And I was like, oh, this is business here. This was conducted like a true business exchange, how they were going to get these babies together. So I said, okay, I kid you not. I said, I'm going to do a baby business card. The theme of She's Got Papers is inspiration through and through, right? And so I said, how can I, again, make this different? There were no business cards for kids on the market. How can I make this different? So we had like cheap operating toddler. We had best big sister, who was my niece at the time. We had, oh my gosh, future, and then Hillary was running. So we had future Mrs. President. I need to do one for Kamala, but that's another piece.
Yeah.
But all of these things came together around this inspiration theme.
So tell me a little bit about the business of it. You'd never been in the stationery business before. Like, how did you
No.
choose the right illustrator? How do you come up with the concepts? Do you come up with the pictures first? Do you come up with the words first? Like, how do you approach this?
Good questions. Nobody ever asked about the behind the scenes. Usually it's the picture. And when you're creative, anything can be your inspiration. Right. So like my aunt got divorced, and my aunt was fun. You know, you have the fun aunt, that's Renee. Renee used to dance in the 80s, go to the clubs, wear her leather pants with the spike belt. Renee was off the hook. When she got divorced, though, it's like the old Renee returned. I had lunch with her and I said, Renee, I want to do a piece about you coming back to yourself. So what I thought about was, she's brand new, like a movie. So I wanted to create a movie marquee, right? I designed a movie marquee, and then the words on the piece were a brand new, beautiful you. So sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's words. I can have a conversation. I was a teen mother. My son is 26 now. And walking the walk is the hardest part. I knew instantly that's just going to be a road. It's going to look like a street, right? With the street sign one way, because when you have children young, you're either going to go left or you're going to go right. And for all of us, we're always in transition in some way, trying to figure out, where are we going, right? So they come from all different kinds of places. We have a coloring journal now. All of those pieces in that book are from old collections, but I needed something to relax me and to calm me down throughout this pandemic. And I knew that I couldn't do another full collection. It wasn't what I was feeling. So that's how that came about. So life dictates She's Got Papers and the designs that we do.
You have the best frozen face I think I've ever seen. You look so perfect for someone frozen. I can still hear you, but it doesn't even bother me because you look like a painting.
It really does look like a painting. I feel like we should get Annika Jones in here and grab you up.
Totally. The artist that we talked to, that we'd seen from the Adobe Max event. So good.
Oh, thank you. That's funny.
No, but everybody's loving your energy. I feel like you could send people a box of note cards, and Ramona could throw in some simple syrups and some bitters, and you would have I could do some quality note writing.
You could supplied.
I did want to point out, I really did like, by the way, the all occasion box. It's very inexpensive too. For $20, you get a whole pile of cards all ready to go. And I mean, that's when you start to use these the most, I think, Tanea, my own experience is if you have them around and if you're ready to be able to use them, and if you've got them so close and so next to some stamps that you can actually get them out of your house, I think that's when you use them the most.
And it's the perfect occasion, like you're saying, Chris. Like, there's some cards in there, like, hey, you've got this, or gee, I'm sorry I screwed up. It's like that's gonna come up. And it probably won't be a convenient time to go card shopping.
Right, exactly. And initially, when this pandemic started, everything was just frozen. Nobody was doing anything. Business wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. Nothing was coming in. And for me and so many of my entrepreneur friends, we were trying to figure out, okay, when do you actually start advertising and marketing again? What do we do? No one knew what to do because no one's ever seen a pandemic like this. I had a client reach out to me because her uncle had passed from COVID, and she asked me to do the bereavement cards. This is not something that I hadn't done before, but this is not what I do. And so I said, okay, of course, she wanted to just send cards to people who had sent well wishes and food, and people had sent, were supportive to her. And then you're trying to figure out how to pivot in the business. So all of a sudden, we're doing bereavement sets. And this went on probably for about a month. And then I was like, oh no. You have to make those hard choices in your business. Even if you're making money from it, it's not sitting good with you and your spirit. And I just said, no, we're not going to be in the death business. And we do need funeral parlors and all these other people because death is a natural part of life. I had to shift. I had to sit down and figure out, how can we shift this? Where do we go? Enter the keeping the faith box. And then I was like, okay, now we cooking. This is what we do. Because here's the thing, and it's been a continuous thread in my life. If you can get still, right, in the midst of madness and transition and everything, if you can just get still, you know that it's going to be okay, because bad things have happened before. Bad things have happened before and you figured it out. So I needed to pivot and then repivot to get back on course with what I do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you were deciding what business you were in and what life you wanted to lead. And
Right.
That's really what it's all about. You don't want to be in the death business. You want to be in the faith and the hope business.
Right.
So you made your choice. And Deb agrees with me, note cards that come with simple syrup and bitters. Let's get that going, you guys. Collaboration. And Fazia loves the cards, loves Tanea, loves the whole thing.
Speaking of, we're going to grab the most lovely Ms. Jackson back and get this whole story going.
Not even any warning. You just pulled you right back.
I just pulled her in. I was watching Ramona. I was making sure she didn't have like a finger up the nose.
Well, you would have pulled her in faster if that was the case. Yeah.
If I ever get
Hey,
that
Ramona,
lucky.
what are we drinking? Just water?
Water.
Well, that's disappointing.
I don't drink in podcasts, so.
Well, that's probably a good policy. I can't say I have the same one.
Yeah. I can't say that goes all the way around this table, but
No. I'm going to put something together before I talk with Women's Leadership Live later. This should be interesting. Yeah.
A little bit of rum with that sweet potato syrup.
you
I
both
am on it.
you both have something in common. You both sort of follow your nose, so to speak, as to what kind of line of business and intentional business you're in. Did you find that when you were listening to Tanea, Ramona, did you find that you were hearing something a little bit about you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think her talking about finding your niche was so important. A lot of people, we go into a passion and then we want to monetize it or become entrepreneurs. But that passion is very broad. It's bohemian. But once you find your niche, for me, that's taking a journey through cocktails and being very intentional about helping people to explore and be adventurous with flavors. That's my niche. Now I could go and try to make, sweet cocktails because everyone likes sweet cocktails, or I can go and try to make pop culture cocktails, but that's not my thing. And I probably won't be successful at it. So I think it was so powerful when she was talking about like really being intentional about finding your lane and taking that direction and going full-fledged at it.
So one question I also had, this is more to both of you, but I'll start with Tanea. The amount of people that want to tell you you're wrong or that you're never going to make it or that you're bad, even if they think they're being well-wishing. How do you deal with that? How did that come up in your world?
You know what? That's a good question. In the beginning, when I said I was going to start a stationery company, I kid you not, people were like, cards? But it was like I was selling wild geese or something. I was just like, you never got a card from your grandmother when you was little? It was, people can't see outside their view, first of all. It's like being at a job and they never ever consider you for a promotion. They only see you where they see you at your level. And so that's a whole nother backstory. But for me, it was really, and maybe because that's the Cancer in me, I'm like, I'm going this way, okay? And once I decided I'm going this way, I didn't worry about that other stuff. And oddly enough, those people started buying my cards, right? So the thing about handwritten notes is that, and it's when I go out to pitch, when the world was open and I could go into companies and pitch, because we were doing corporate cards too, I don't hard sell, right? because if you write notes, you do it. And if you don't, you don't. That's not something that you talk people into. It really is a niche. So for me, it was saying, okay, Tanea, this is what you do. You do it at the highest level possible. She's Got Papers, remember, was my side hustle initially, except I never treated it as such. I treated it like a Fortune 500. You have to see the way clear for yourself in the beginning, from the beginning. And then you start to attract people who understand what you're doing. And that could be in the way of customers. I call these ladies my pen pals, right? It could be in the way of mentorship. People just come on board the vision. But you have to say to yourself, I'm going this way. It's going to be some people that's telling you need to go south. I'm going east. And that's it. That's it. And it's not easy. Like, it's really not. I'm not saying, oh, just go east. No, it's not easy. It's a everyday conversation that you have with yourself. I could be doing other things. Would they be my passion? No.
All right, Ramona.
Gee, I hear a little contrariness in there, Chris.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'm not an Aries. Maybe I'm a Cancer. Ramona, I got to ask you this question instead. I got to ask you who your handsome models are for your mocktails.
So is my two sons. In the yellow shirt, my oldest, he's 13. His name's RJ. In the middle, that's my youngest. He's 11, taller than the 13-year-old. His name's Brogan. And then my nephew, Aiden. And I went home to see family because it had been too long. And the boys are like, mocktails. So they watch me make cocktails all the time here at home. So they were like, make us a drink, Mom. And now it's like a weekly occurrence.
That's an occupational hazard. People are going to be like, you
Yes,
can make drinks for us. Yeah.
Y'all can't see it, but there's like about 85 pieces of fruit on those skewers too. When it's a mocktail, that's what it's all about. Is that skewer up top. So,
but they have very discerning tastes. They picked like lychee fruit and mint and berries. So they were getting into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, your kids would have a sophisticated palate at this point.
They're not accepting a whole bunch of grapes, is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm just heard. No. All right. So we have two more things to do before the end of the show today. We got to get a person today. I had one in mind from the start, and then they doubled down because they're sharing Ramona all over Instagram already. So
yay!
I love people who are good at sharing their friends, and it's Miriam here. So she is our person today. Miriam, that means you get to get an apple just like that one on the screen. You just go to any grocery store, buy it, wash it, eat it.
Definitely wash it, like now. Really person of the day brought to you by PubSite, pub-site.com.
And this is the last question of the show for both of you. I'm going to ask Tanea first, then I'm going to ask Ramona. What goes in your backpack? And this could be something physical. It could be something, metaphorical. It could be something like courtesy. It could be determination. It could be I'm going this way, which is it has to be a T-shirt if it's not already. And it could be something very physical like bitters or maybe a notebook. So I've got to ask that question. What goes in your backpack, Tanea Smith?
Backpackers in the comments, can you tell her what a big deal this is?
I'm going to tell you one you probably never heard before. When my son was born, I was 19 years old. My grandmother wrote me a letter. In the letter, she said, "You're not the first, you won't be the last. But what you do now is up to you." I take it everywhere I go. The letter's 26 years old.
Wow.
No matter what happens, you ain't the first, right? So get yourself together, figure it out, and get on with it. See, life happens no matter what, whether you're on board or not. So you can only sit in, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Can you believe it? None of us can believe it. Now what? That's in my backpack forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ramona Jackson, what's in there?
I can't even follow that.
I don't want to.
At first I said I was going to put alcohol in my backpack because who doesn't need a swig, a dram here and there? But I think I'll put knowing your value in my backpack. Taneas said something before that really struck me when she's saying, there are people that'll tell you no. Like the no's that I have gotten of recent are just people who don't want to pay what I'm worth. Like I've gleaned these skills like over time, and it's not just the cost of the materials and the cost of my time, but it's the cost of my experience, and my ideas and all the things that I put into my cocktails and into the experiences that I build for people. And that has a value. And if you don't know your value, people will give you a sign of value to you. So I'll put knowing my value in my bag and hand it out liberally to people who want to be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Exactly. So exactly.
Avocado. Deb says an avocado goes in the backpack.
Yeah. Well, I bit my tongue through not to say it. So I got to bring you up really quickly my dad's version of humor. My dad just texted me right now during the show, and it says, it took me a while, but then I realized that Tanea was stationary.
Oh, that's a good one.
And my grandmother.
Shout out to your father.
My
And it's so early where he is.
And yeah, that's a really good 7 a.m. joke for Vegas.
Right.
My grandmother, his mother, was probably to blame for that, because one time she said to him,